let's go a little bit deeper in one area that you just brought up, Wes, is around risk, cybersecurity.
Hmm.
John, I'm going to come back to you for a second. You and Vineet there next to you, you mentioned IRE, an isolated recovery environment, as kind of a foundational, can you maybe just for the audience purpose, describe that a little bit? Take a moment, please.
Sure, I'll let Vineet take that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you look at any healthcare, like what Wes was talking about, the challenge is healthcare itself it's a life and death situation when you're talking about. And IRE is what we call as isolated recovery environment, primarily from a purpose. If you look at it, current landscape within the healthcare is that 1 out of 3 hospitals are under ransomware attack.
Hmm.
And the challenge you have is the recovery time itself is to kind of get, it's an average 19 days. That's a huge amount of recovery time that you need. So, uh, in that scenario, how does 5G help kind of put across an overlay network, which is segregated and helps achieve a better outcome for healthcare providers? So, there are 4 core principles to IRE. So one is the whole air gapped network that it creates. So you have traditional wired network, you have the LAN and everything else. So this is not your LAN, VLAN segmentation. It's a completely separate 5G slice on which you're running, which is air gapped from your network. So if in case you have a ransomware attack, if there is a cybersecurity attack that has happened, you have an ability to shut down your network, existing one, and completely move to this new 5G slice. And that helps you that way to put across. You have a very safe network to play with. The second portion it comes to is, hey, what happens to data? So I have this immutable IRE vault, which is where you then have ability to go across into data. So access to that vault is through our entire checksum. It again doesn't follow your standard network that has been compromised. So this is a clean 5G slice that goes into your IRE vault, where then you have ability and say one-way traffic. So nobody can change that data. It gets committed to it. The other part comes across is if I bring the third part of it, which is about saying is okay, what about zero trust? How do we make sure that effectively whosoever is going on that? So you have SIM-based hardware authentication that happens again on a 5G core. So nothing to do with. So if there are any attackers, ransomware, they will not be able to do anything with that. So you have this. This then creates a whole segregated environment. The final part of it is the whole parallel recovery capacity that it gives you, because now what you have is you have an ultra low latency capability on a slice to look at forensics on your existing network, but at the same time you have a high bandwidth uh, uh, pipe that lets your data go through. So these are 4 core things that help from an IRE perspective, help healthcare. And if you look at what I was talking about, the situation that even Wes was alluding earlier to, is that the recovery time of 19 days will drop down to, in an IRE environment, drop down to 1 to 4 hours. So it's a huge, huge benefit, especially when we are going more digital, we're going more AI based and everything else.
Vineet, thank you for that description. Wes, question for you based on what you just heard there. Is this the direction that healthcare needs to take? You mentioned relationships with the patients out there, keeping that patient care within the walls there. It's going to change. Is this the direction healthcare needs to go?
It is. And let me put it in a different tone for a second. What he described very articulately is the technical way, one of the means that we would use a partner to achieve a quality that we need to have as part of our customer experience, critical quality, and that's confidence. They have to have confidence that our systems are going to be up and available. Now, in his discussion, he hit a very critical point, which is revenue, and had the balance sheet and so forth. That every CFO is standing up and applauding it right this moment. So besides winning over the hearts and minds of every CFO that says, no, I don't want to pay those big bills. I don't want to pay the ransomware. I want to stay up and I want to keep making money each month and so forth, because it's a horrible financial hit if you don't do what he's talking about. But there's another aspect of that that I want to hit, which might be overshadowed by the financial component of that. And that is the confidence in the patient that they have that you're up, that you're available, that you're protecting their data. And that when they want to come to you, if your goal is to have a conversation with them that's continuous, that your systems are going to be available and you're not going to be in the news all the time. And there's not going to be doubt that their records have been compromised. And there's not going to be any doubt that the records are accurate.
Yep.
And there's not going to be any lingering doubt that once you say, hey, I'm clean and we're back open for business, are you really? Do you really know? Can you really assert with confidence that they're not still in there somewhere, buried down in the system? Maybe I should wait a while, use somebody else for a bit until it's been exercised, and we see if maybe 2 weeks later you're hit again or there was a lingering other issue. What he just described is a way to have that confidence. I've changed everything. I've backup upon backup upon backup. Yes, I can assert that number one, we were prepared. Number two, it is safe. Number three, we are open for business. And then we flipped the switch. And now we're back in business. We're good. No problem. We'll let the authorities go deal with these thugs and off we go.